This video is about the second version of the Edison home. The first version was what we call commonly the suitcase home because of the way the cabinet looks. You should check out that video because basically I talk about the first version and how Edison at that time introduced the small cast iron cased version of a machine called a gem. That was his most inexpensive machine. Then he had the Edison Standard, which was slightly bigger in a wooden cabinet, a bit smaller than this one. And that was a great seller for Edison because it was well priced and it was a really reliable machine. Then a little bit more expensive, if you wanted to invest a bit more money in a better machine with a more powerful motor, the next one was in the line was the Edison Home. And the first version, as I said, I did a video on called the suitcase home. This is called the long box home. This is the style, it's starting to look more like you would maybe picture an Edison home looking because if you see them, most of them are in a wooden box similar to this. But this one, it's called a long box, so that's the name we give it, because the first version of the wood cased one that's like this, the box was a little longer for the mechanism and the way it's laid out. And then they made some slight adjustments to the machine and were able to put it in a slightly smaller case. So I'll do a video on that version after this one. So right now we're looking at what's called the long box home. You can see that the cabinets on all three of these are very similar, same size. They are a bit longer than the regular one. They're in a green oak, which I really like the early green oak. Later they decided to go with more of a brown oak finish, but this is the early green oak. The machine is very much like the suitcase home version, except it's screwed into a ring here, which allows you to now open the machine up and get a look at the motor. So there's the motor of it. In the suitcase, you literally have to take the whole mechanism out, and that was a bit of a pain. The mechanism, as I say, is very, very similar. On this one, the ID plate has changed to the more modern style of the later ones, so we'll get a close-up look at that. But it still has the shaver, the same sort of reproducer. This one could come with a carriage that had the little arm to adjust the reproducer here, but this one either been changed or this is the way it came. One thing that's nice about this particular one, I know it's early because of this banner decal. This is the same banner that was used on the suitcase home, and with the red on it. It's a beautiful banner. When they came out with the new design in 1901, so the original machines were 1895-96 to 1901. When they came out with this one in 1901, they were reusing the leftover decals. Then once they had ran out of those, they came up with their new design decal for the new case. So this one here is just a little bit later machine, but it's basically identical to this one, just a slight difference in the decal. So it's nice to see both side beside each other. So let's come in and take a look, and then I'll show you this one, which has a repeater on it, which is an unusual upgrade on this machine. That was an aftermarket product added to it. Yeah, this is a special machine having this nice green oak color in great condition with this decal that's almost 100%. Very beautiful. You can see it's similar if you saw the video on suitcase homes. It's a very similar mechanism. I mean, it really is the same mechanism. It's still two parts. There's this part here, and then we've got this large bed plate. That's one of the things they made changes to fit it in a shorter case, to make this a little more compact. There's the new ID plate. Let me just move that. Take a look. That's one you see in a lot of machines. More common style. And the end gate on this one is just like a suitcase. Just open like that. Eventually they get rid of this way of attaching it, and then eventually they get rid of the whole end gate thing. If I look at the other one, yeah, same machine, same ID plate, just the decal has been upgraded to the new style. Same end gate. If I go to the third and final one, take the lid off and take a look. Let's get the crank out of there. And you can see it's the same machine, still a long box home with the newer decal, but there's something been added to it, a repeater. So what this does is when it reaches the end of the record, it lifts the reproducer, pulls it back to the start, and plays the record again. And there's some adjustments so you can set it when the record ends. And it's chain driven right off the mandrel drive. Because this one's had a repeater added to it, they had to carve out some notches in the lid to accommodate the fact that the repeater sticks out a little bit. So that's the only way you can get the lid back on it. It's impressive to see 3 really nice machines like this all together, especially with those nice early horns on them. So that's a close-up look at the second version of the Edison Home. So I'm going to make a video now on the later version where they went with a smaller case. So I hope you check that video out.